on this side because I'm a lefty. So it's going to be like, yeah, we'll figure it out
Okay.
this time around. Welcome back. So today's topic is spicing up your biology notes.
Mm.
In particular, we're going to be talking about which one, Joe?
Plant transpiration.
Plant transpiration. And this arose from the fact that while we were planning our episodes, we had our interns around and they just finished IGCSE.
Mm.
And we asked them like what their biggest pain point was for bio, and they were like, plants. It was like a resounding like plants. Yeah. And we're just like, okay, okay. It was really funny because the pain was so visceral. Yeah. So funny. I still remember that. Well, so for those of you who are just joining us, hi, I'm Erica. I'm
I
Charika,
am
and
Joe.
yes, and we are teachers who hated studying because memorizing did not work for us.
Yes, did not
Absolutely
work.
hated it.
Oh,
Yeah. uh, yes, we have okay, basically we have beef. We have beef with we have beef with how things were taught in school, technically.
especially the textbook.
And how the textbooks are arranged. Yeah, but we'll share more about that later.
Yep.
Yep. So, moving on, so for those of you who are just joining us, just so you know, we're very active on social media. We do a lot of like notes and also study tips, yeah, to help you along because these are things we wish someone told us while we were studying. And
Mm.
if you'd like to access those things, Joe, what should they do?
Follow our IG, follow us on TikTok, as well as subscribe this channel. This. Yeah, just hit the subscribe button.
It's
Yep,
pointing upwards.
below it's below.
Below. Yeah, guys, sorry. We're just we're just a little bit flustered from
A
the
little.
change in time. So we didn't have everything with us. So as you can see, the setup's very different right now. Okay, all right. So the thing about so the thing that we really really wanted to get across here today in terms of note taking, I think a lot of people. I thought about it in the car while we were driving, like to get to our space here, right, Joe?
Oh, okay.
Um, I was thinking about it. A lot of us, I think one thing we gotta be very clear about note taking is the fact that like what is the purpose of actually taking notes?
Hmm.
Yeah. So I think for most people, note taking is so that you condense the information, you summarize, and you only like take the important parts and leave all
Yes.
the
Okay.
yeah, and leave all the excess stuff out.
Hmm.
See, but the thing is that that's for the intention of summarizing so that later on you save time.
Hmm.
So my question here is, what if you could save even more time if your aim is also to create the note in such a way where you don't have to put the effort in to remember. On the spot, when
Oh.
you create the note, you're already like doing 50% of the effort. You're
Hmm.
already like, yeah, putting in 50% of the effort of having to remember it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that is the basis of what ImagiNotes is, this creative note-taking method. It's to basically not just take the note and then like you have to put in all the effort to try and like remember it, but in the act of taking the note and trying to create it in a way and design it in a way where you can remember it for long term, that is the aim of ImagiNotes.
Or you actually understand the context of
Yes.
things that you are learning.
Yes, so side benefits include understanding the context and understanding concepts.
Yep.
Yeah, so and understanding is more powerful than memorizing.
Yeah.
Because memorizing when you walk out of the exam,
You just forgot everything.
yeah, yes, exactly. And it's like and yeah, you give everything back to the teachers. Yeah,
Hmm.
whereas if you aim to understand, then that's something, it's like riding a bike. Nobody can take that away from you.
Yep.
Yeah, for those of you who have a skill that you're good at, like drawing or anything like that, if you don't touch it for many years
Yeah.
and you suddenly do it again, it's not something that's easily forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we approach ImagineNotes, please bear this in mind. Yeah, please bear this in mind, and for yourselves as well, because then half the battle is won if you're already designing the notes in such a way where you can already remember it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's the concept. So let's get straight into it. Okay, making good time, Joe. All right,
Plan
so
reminded me of Plant vs Zombie.
oh man. All right. So one of the things that I understand from our interns that's difficult to remember, and this is something that does come out for the exams quite a fair bit,
Yeah.
is the transpiration stream, or the way Joe and I look at it, the mechanism of transpiration. Yeah. And we're going to start with that first. Joe, would you be, can you fill them in on why we're starting with that first?
Oh, okay. Basically, we are looking at this topic. It's because, I mean, like it occurs in your textbook. It's because we would like to have students to observe how plants actually survive. And this simple mechanic is a very basic survival mechanic for plants, where the plants will actually absorb the water from the soil using roots and then get to transport the water all the way from root to stem and then to the leaves, and then how it leaves the plant. That's what we call transpiration.
Yep.
It's basically telling you about evaporation of the water from the plant itself. It's like the plant is literally breathing, just like human beings. Because plants, they don't have hands and legs like us. We can go look for the source, but they can't. So they have to rely on the mechanism to help them survive.
Yes. And so one of the things we realized when we were reading, because we're right now in full swing,
Mm,
designing full on ImagineNotes for your chemistry and also
bio.
for biology. Yeah. And what we're realizing more and more, and these are things that I think we wish that we knew when we were younger, is the
Mm.
fact that the
But
textbook is written where it goes from micro to macro.
yeah,
Yeah, and if you're lucky, if you have a teacher who can spot that for you, that's great, because
yep,
we think that the beginning of understanding is actually understanding the macro first and then zooming into the micro.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's honestly how we naturally learn. We normally learn from the big picture, and then the more we get interested in it, the more we will deep dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like just now Joe was teaching me how to fry sweet sour pork. So the macro part of it is that I know how to fry the pork so it's
Mm,
crispy.
yep,
But the micro part of it is that you have to fry it twice.
yeah.
And the heat. Like how do you actually deal with the heat? And I was like, when he was telling me that, I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Mm,
Yeah, but I wouldn't be bothered to find out about it if I hadn't tried frying the pork first on a big level.
yeah,
Yeah, and then see, the reason why I asked him was because I want to get good at it. So he taught me the small, like the littler things.
mm.
Yeah, so this is the context that we feel is kind of missing from science, because the textbook writes it
The other way around.
backwards. Yeah, it writes it backwards of how we would normally, like how science was actually discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about how they should have started with the experiment first,
Mm-hmm.
because how does it go? It starts with the statement, right, Joe? You were saying?
Yes. I start with observation.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just make a quick note here. So most things start with an observation.
That's what we see.
Yeah. And then it progresses to they'll create a hypothesis or a statement.
Yeah. Then they will process whatever you see.
And
And
then
then
you get the experiment, right? To see whether the statement is indeed true.
mm,
But science is taught, and then from the experiment, you get all the details
height.
and the facts.
Mm.
But
And the
how your textbooks, sorry, and what?
and all the calculations.
And all the calculations, yeah. But
Accurate part of it.
yes, but the problem is with a lot of textbooks, they start with this first, and then they teach you the experiment last. So when
Yeah.
this happens, it actually takes away the discovery from you.
Mm.
Yeah, and so this is like it's very, I think, against how naturally how we would learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you feel that you're struggling to understand your sciences, this is probably why, and you might want to try reading the textbook backwards. Yeah, because I find often the big picture context is
It's
at the
at the
back.
back. Yeah.
Yeah. If you read it backwards, what happens in front actually starts to make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you guys are very logical and therefore don't have a problem and you can already see the links from micro to macro. But
If you're a
for
genius, then this might not work.
yeah, or you're very logic, like left brain, like very logical thinker, yeah, then this might not work for you. But for those of you who are more like right brain, you might want to try reading it backwards. It will probably make more
Mm,
sense because we like to think from macro to micro.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Or
Cool. Let's jump straight into. Let's continue with that. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We like to set a lot of context because it does kind of help. All right. Now, all right. We're gonna start with the stream. All right. So the first thing is that. Okay. All right. Here we go. So first thing we have is oopsie.
those water
Can,
droplets.
oh yes. Oh sorry. It should be the other way. Oof. Kiss kiss.
Mm.
So okay, so in the notes it says that water um, water molecules are attracted to each other,
All the time.
all right, by cohesion. So what I've done here, yeah, I think it says cohesion. Yes,
Yeah.
to each other, yeah, by cohesion. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go statement one, water molecules are attracted to each other. You can actually shorten this, yeah. And then the second statement here is by cohesion. Okay, so when I read, yeah, so I guess I started in the micro, but the macro thing was that when I read water molecules are attracted to each other by cohesion, immediately what I thought for myself was water molecules, kissy kissy, and then because they're attracted by cohesion, and cohesion to me is like cohesive, so it's like a glue to me.
Mm.
Yeah, so from here then I decided to do like a love heart glue stick.
Love heart glue stick.
Yeah, so put together. So they're like stuck together, right? Okay.
Mm.
All right. So then this creates, okay. So then this creates okay. Okay, let's see if I get this right. Okay. So this cohesion then creates, all right, a continuous stream of water. Okay, so I'm drawing the arrows here, like you know how you would draw water,
Mm.
like long lines, yeah. So it helps you remember. So everything. So remember earlier on, I said everything in this note needs to really help you remember.
Yep.
Okay, we'll reveal the magic of this like at the end of the show. Okay, so this creates a stream. All right, continuous stream of water. So because it's continuous, right? So then I have a lot of like arrows,
Arrows.
right, showing continuity. Yeah, and then the
Mm.
stream. So this looks like a river flowing upwards. Huh? Yeah, it
Yep.
creates continuous stream. Okay, of water up the plant. All right, now the brain loves pictures. All right, so if you want, you can actually like um, replace these with pictures. It's just that I use words because I've got already a good picture here, but I'm too lazy to write up the plant. So,
Mm.
so this is what I'm doing. Okay, and
Yep.
then the next step is that this one's gonna be interesting. Okay, So we're going to move into the next step of because I understand that you guys have to remember this because you will probably need to explain it in your
Yeah.
exam paper,
We
right?
will,
So
yeah, we will be asked to describe the process.
yes. So, okay, I did not leave the space that I actually needed for the next part, but it's okay. All right, so the next part it says here, water travels through the xylem vessels, all right, in the transportation stream.
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, okay, and it says from the roots to the leaves. So I know that for bio, you guys have to hit up certain keywords, yeah? So let's see. Yeah, you guys will need to hit up certain keywords. So I will show you how I visualize this note. So again, it's all about creating it in such a way where you will remember every single step. So like right now, over here, if I covered this thing, right, water molecules are attracted to each other by cohesion,
Yeah.
right? Like it's already, it matches.
Visualizing that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it creates a continuous stream of water that flows up the plant or the stem, whichever. Okay, that's where we go. All right, so now let's try to do it for this one. Water travels through the xylem. So the first thing we need is a xylem. Okay,
Xylem.
xylem. Okay. Okay, water travels through the xylem vessel. Okay, if you want to be really cheeky about this, you could also draw it like a giant like ship, because vessel or container. Yeah, so it's up to you how you want to do it. I think I will keep mine simple and just have the vessel there.
It could
And
be
then, sorry?
it could be a boat,
Yep,
some sort
it
of
could totally be a
transport.
boat.
Yeah.
It could totally be a boat. Okay, so the thing I was missing is actually the water traveling up. So I'm gonna do the water here. Okay, I'm gonna go kissy face, kissy face. Ooh. Kissy face. Kissy face. And then more kissy face. And then more kissy face. Okay, no. All right, now it's gonna go through this thing called a transpiration stream. So I'm gonna add that there.
Transpiration stream.
Okay. Okay. Pardon my wobbly handwriting. It's my first time like doing ImagiNotes like vertically. Okay. It's true, all right? Now, and it says here from the roots to the leaves via the stem. All right, so how do we actually do that? Right? So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna draw like a signboard here, okay? I'm gonna draw plant roots. Okay, this is my version of plant roots. If you can draw it better than me, good. Sometimes like I like to just show my ugly drawing because I want you guys to see that you don't actually need nice drawing to do memorable notes, right? So
It's not ugly. What we call that is like unique.
unique, unique drawing. Why, thank you, Joe.
Personalized.
Okay, personalized. Wow. All right. So for those of you who are just joining us, thank you so much. And if you're liking what you see so far, do hit the like and the subscribe button.
Yay.
Yes,
Or
I'm
leave
sorry to.
comments below like how we can do it better to explain it better to you.
Yes, yes. So again, for those of you who are just joining us, just say hi. We really love to hear from you. And just so you know that we are currently showing you how to take extremely, extremely memorable notes. Yeah, as memorable as possible. Okay. So because that's the shortcut to actually cutting down your study time. All right.
Right.
Okay. So from leaves, then via the stem. All right, great. So this is how it's gonna work, right? So we're gonna go water travels, and you can draw a briefcase here. Yeah, water travels through the xylem vessels. Okay, and then in what is called the transpiration stream. Now you can write this in blue, then it kind of resonates with the.
The image.
Yes, and you can actually draw this water in. So this is how you can play with color as well. So color, helps a lot in terms of like anchoring the memory. Yeah. So
There's no brain.
anything to do, yes, anything to do with water. And the brain loves color. So the brain loves color and the brain loves pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. All right. And then, so I'm going to do number 1 here. All right. So water travels through the xylem vessel in transpiration. Okay. And then we're going to say here from the, and then here's roots anyway, right? To the
Leaves.
leaves. And then I'll put here through the stem.
Hmm.
Yep. So the less words you use, the better. Yeah. But like I said, the more clever your notes, a reminder, the more clever your notes, the more you have to label.
Yep.
Like if you have a very creative way of trying to remember it, yeah, sometimes it's too creative that the next time you look at it, it's like your brain is like, I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, so it's okay to label, yeah, anyway, yeah, so that basically it just helps with the recall. So even though I say try not to use so many words, but if it's really clever or really difficult, you should. All
Hmm.
right, that's all I gotta say. Yeah, you should just label it in case you forget.
It's like a
Oh,
bookmark.
yes. Oh yeah, that's such a great way to say that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because 6 months down the road, if you didn't revise and you're trying to revise now, right, it actually does help. Yeah, I've made all the mistakes, so these are our like pro tips to you. All right. So
Hey.
the next part of transpiration is that transpiration produces a tension or pull on the water by the leaves.
Hmm.
Okay, so in my head, when I saw that, when I read that, immediately I saw. I'm gonna draw this diagonally. Sorry, vertically, because Joe said might be better because the water flows upwards anyway. So
Yep.
I'm gonna draw 2 leaves here. I'm gonna draw a leaf army. No, I'm gonna draw 2 leaf guys. Okay. And they are, I'm gonna draw a rope here, and they are pulling a rope. I hope you guys can see this. So like tug of war. Hope you guys can see it. Okay, tug of war. And they're pulling the water droplet who is absolutely attracted to each other. Oops, kissy face. I'm gonna do this. Okay, so from here we go 1, transpiration produces. Transpiration produces, all right. And then we can put here the tension or pull. Actually, just put or pull on water. Okay, so over here you can make it fun for yourself by going pull boys. The guy saying, the leaf saying that. Okay, pull on water. Um, and then 3 by the leaves. So 3. All right, so transpiration produces the tension and pull on the water by leaves. Clear it. Okay, great. All right, so then there are certain notes, right? Um, there are certain notes. I'm not sure if this explanation is needed, but I probably think so because this is basically the summary of the mechanic, right? So basically, the statement says since the cohesive forces, uh, the cohesive forces are there, then each water molecule the water molecules each pull on the one below it, and that's why water gets pulled up through the plant. So it's a bit like One Piece, right, where the water flowed upwards. That giant river. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. But we did that before in one of the other notes. Yeah. But for this one, I kind of felt that this statement, you could actually combine it with this part of the note.
Right.
Yeah. And I will do it because it's talking about the cohesive forces, right? So cohesive forces, okay. So I'll go here, one, since there is the cohesive forces. All right. Then two, each water molecule. All right. Pulls the other one up. Okay. And then all right, which is why water travels up the plant. Okay, if I had a bit more space, I would probably clear a section or I replicate this diagram with these notes, like somewhere further down here. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. Like for me, I'll try and combine it.
Yep.
Yeah, because to me, this is like, this diagram says it all. So I'll just put the explanation at the side here, probably in a different color. I've probably have done that in black so that I can see that there's a different explanation separately. But as with my notes, I like to just try and keep it to 3 colors. So if I had to redo this, then probably use a completely different color, like black. Yeah. All right. Then the last thing is that the last thing to note. Yeah. So if there's anything that you have to remember, then I like to do a note here. So I do, sorry, note. All right. Then we'll go. Yeah, this one. This one says if the rate of transpiration is increased, the rate of transpiration.
Inspiration.
Okay, sorry. If the rate of transpiration increases, right, molecules get pulled quicker.
Yes. Means
So
they move faster.
yep. Increases, then water molecules. Ah, well, this can actually go here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who are really like for those of you who love drawing, or like you feel a little bit like you want to make sure that this is also very visual, you can actually redraw this, but instead with the leaves going like, come on guys, pull faster. Like all the hands and the legs, like the hands are like a blur. Like you can't see the hands anymore. Like yeah, so you could
Faster.
actually do something. Sorry.
Like hasty. Right?
Yeah, like yeah, much quicker. Yeah. Okay, so I guess this is yeah, so this is basically the transpiration stream mechanism. Now, I want you guys to take a look at this. All right, and Joe, can you please so again, we promised you that at the end of this, hi guys, for those of you who are just joining us, thank you so much for joining in. We are very happy to see you. We're actually working on the
Plant
notes for plant transpiration right now for your IGCSE syllabus for bio. And we're showing you how to take it in such a way where you actually remember it. So it's not just to summarize it, but to do it in such a way where half the effort of forcing yourself to remember is taken away. All right, so we're about to reveal why ImagiNotes, our note-taking method, is very, very powerful. Okay, yeah, and please forgive our setup today. It's kind of a hodgepodge thing because we suddenly had a change of plans. So we just had to scramble and just try and set up however we could. Okay. Yeah. So Joe, can you please show them the textbook? I'm gonna move Joe's screen over so you guys can see. All right. So a lot of so of course, any day, a shortened version of what Joe is holding up definitely beats reading all of those words for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna move it back here. All right. Now, but the thing is that let me show you how most notes are done, right? Because I basically like have it here. Let me just share screen. Okay. So this is normally what your notes would generally look like.
Hmm.
All right, just have a look at that for a second. Now, if you had to hurry up and revise, right? And yet all those words, and you've already cut down as much as you can, right? But there's still 2 years worth of notes to take a look at. And this is one of the more
Right.
difficult like topics to remember.
Hmm.
Okay, so that versus
This.
this, right? So if you notice it, like which one is actually easier to remember, easier to grasp, right? So I'm not an artist, okay, guys? I don't draw. This is as far as I go. I draw stick figures, okay? And when I teach in school, when I teach my kids how to remember their notes or whatever, I try and make it as visual as possible because why? The brain likes pictures and the brain loves color. Yeah,
Hmm.
so again, the pictures got to be in such a way where it helps you to remember. Yeah, so you're not taking notes for the sake of summarizing anymore, or just like, oh, okay, because I can't remember the information, so the paper has to remember it for me. All right, so this is basically from the very get-go, you're making it possible for you to already remember your notes. You're
Yeah.
creating that possibility the moment you actually take the note.
Hmm.
Yeah, instead of having to, this one, the possibility is still quite, I mean, it's there. You could probably remember it, but all right, the imagine note makes it even more possible. You're increasing your ability to remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And it does boil down to context and creative thinking because that's what actually anchors it in long-term memory. If you go back to our previous sessions of ImagiNotes, we actually do show you on a timeline why it works. Yeah. So
Hmm.
remembering is more powerful than memorizing. Yeah, and yes, this does take a little bit more of thought
Effort.
power. Yeah, and that's why we're doing this with you guys online every week, because this is not something that's very that comes very naturally to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you have to remember you're born creative. It's just that all your time in school, right? Uh, People like being creative also means you kind of get into trouble, or you do things that's outside the norm, right? So,
Hmm.
and we get it. But the thing is that you guys were born with it, something you already have. So all we're doing right now is helping you build the little bridges so that you
Yes.
can reconnect with the creativity. Yeah, and this is a skill that you can take with you all the way up to corporate. Yeah, when you
Hmm.
start working and when you actually go into like college and university, because nowadays when you're presenting for work and all that, if you can do something like this, these kind of visual notes, wow, people love it. Yeah, our director of Studio E, he gets paid. He gets paid to speak because people love his diagrams. It is so simple to read and so simple to understand. Like
Yeah.
complicated business concepts, he does it this way. Yeah, so that's why we say this is a life skill.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, if you like the idea of already when you start taking your notes, you can already start remembering what you're learning. If you love that idea, guys, go ahead, hit that like button and that subscribe button. I'm going to insert a shameless plug here because we believe very firmly in this, and this is how we teach our kids in the school. Yeah, so that's why they don't really need, they actually don't need this. We're actually doing this for those of you guys who don't come to our school.
Hmm.
Yeah, because the kids in our school don't actually need it. We have other things besides ImagiNotes that sort of, how to say, lubricate or at least like ease that process of trying to memorize,
Yeah.
or in this case, remember. All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're all about making it as easy as possible. All right. Creating ease is the thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the other way doesn't really create ease. This one does, even though it seems difficult at first.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And we had another analogy for that. If you check back in the previous video, so I'm not going to repeat it here because for those of you who have been following us week after week, I don't want to sound like a broken record. Maybe another time I will show the analogy. And if you guys want the analogy, just let us know. We will cover it in the next session. Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you for joining us. Just one last announcement. Next week, it is the Chinese New Year celebration.
Yes.
So Joe and I will not be available to do ImagineNotes. So we'll take a 1 week break and we'll be back the following week.
Yes.
Yes. And next week we will be talking about translocation and possibly or maybe transpiration, because we have other notes on that too. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Because the next part is the how and the function, how to take notes for that. Again,
Mm.
it's very, very visual like this. And then the following week will be translocation, and we might talk about like what we heard also is that it's confusing between the two.
It involves chemistry.
Yes, it involves chemistry. So we're gonna like so the part where there's differences, we're gonna go into that only after we do imagine notes for both, because sometimes you can just take the notes and put it side by side.
Yeah.
And then you can see the differences already. Or we
Mm.
might have to create a note specifically for that. So we'll figure it out along the way. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Joe and I don't teach bio, but we do teach people how to learn in a way that cuts down the stress, cuts down the angst, and cuts down the sweat. The struggle, actually. Yeah, I think the word I was looking for, it cuts down the struggle. So we create games for learning. So that's Joe's job. We create comics also for learning. We're bringing you ImagineNotes because this is like the first step. It takes a while to create comics and games for learning, especially at secondary school level. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can understand why there are more games for like primary school and like
And then
kindergarten, because those
preschool.
concepts are, yeah, and preschool, because those are actually easier to create
More
actually.
straightforward.
More straightforward, yeah. Because today when we were trying to prepare for this episode, I was like, I told Joe I have a headache. I don't know how you guys do it because I dropped bio. And I had to learn it in Malay, which is the national language in Malaysia.
Yes, I
So
did the Malay version of it.
yeah, and I was like, there's more syllables to memorize compared to English. And I was like, no way I'm doing it. So I dropped it. I took, fortunately, architectural drawing because my school offered that. I was
Uh,
so lucky. Yeah, I was so lucky. By reading this thing, I'm just going, oh man, you guys, I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
lucky for you, I went through all three sciences in Malay.
Yeah, Joe was the one who went through all three. Salute, salute. I couldn't. I was just like, oh man. Because I counted. I actually compared the sentences translated and not, and the syllables were just so much more.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, if you enjoyed this episode, just remember we're gonna be coming on again in the week after next, and the reminders will always be on our Instagram or our TikTok. Yeah. Although I forgot to post up on TikTok today. I'm
Okay.
so sorry, guys. Yeah, I shall remember to do that next time. Yeah, sorry. We have a lot of things moving parts, so we'll get into the swing of it. I promise. All right. Thank you so much. We started late, so we stretched a bit over time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you the week
See
after.
ya.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Happy Chinese New Year.
In advance.
Bye bye. Oh, we forgot our
Bye.
plant friend, Joe.
Yeah.
We forgot the plant friend that's supposed to accompany us for the show.
We can bring it after Chinese New Year. I think it's fine.
Yes.
Because we'll
Next
be
week,
talking
please.
about the same thing anyway. I
Yes.
mean,
So next week,
similar topics.
yeah. So on Instagram, we said bring your plant friend for inspiration for transpiration, and we forgot ourselves. Damn. Okay. So next week then. Bye.
Bye.